All right, everybody. Welcome to the Living Hope Agency call. I couldn't be more excited for another round of our Back to Basics series. We come back to this series, every couple months, and I think it's important, especially coming out of convention, just talking about basics. Dave Anderson got up on stage and he talks about how he coaches professional athletes, college athletes, people who perform at the top tier. And just getting back to basics in general is the number one thing that he talks about. He talks about having his players, shooting hundreds, if not thousands of free throws a day. And, talking about practicing your script. Anybody who's been here for 2, 3 years, practicing your script doesn't sound like something that you really want to do unless you're doing it with a new agent that's going to help, get started and earn an override. But these are the types of things that help us become masters in this business. If we want to become a master of this business, we have to become a master of the basics. So some of these calls, we're going to be really digging into the word tracks. Today, that's not today. Today, we're going to be talking more about just good practices of an insurance agent. And I think that is so important to understand some of these basics. So the first thing I think, before we get into some of the more practical application of things, for me, I think it's important to understand the basics of why insurance, why so many of us have picked insurance over so many other industries out there. I think that's where I kind of want to start here today because, I've been involved in a handful of different industries. I've been involved in a lot of different businesses. I have friends who are involved in different industries. And, I love insurance for a handful of reasons. Number one, I've sold a lot of different things and I've sold a lot of things that people didn't necessarily need. So it really did feel like selling. Something that was maybe a luxury item, something that was in the health and wellness space. Yeah, it's going to make you healthy, but do you really need this, $8 energy drink? I don't know. Like, it's debatable. But when you die, does your family need life insurance? The answer is a resounding yes. I've never once gone through an appointment and felt bad that I helped someone with life insurance. I never once was like, man, I really twisted Mary's arm to help her family. I never felt that way, but there was many times in my career selling all kinds of different things like, wow, they didn't really need that. But because of my skill set, I was able to create a value proposition that, made sense for them to buy. And maybe there's buyer's remorse, but I've never, ever once felt that way. And that's why we call this the most honorable profession on the planet. When somebody dies at the end of their life, you're the only person who's reaching back with a check. Everyone else says, gimme, gimme, you owe us this, you owe us that. But you're the one who's reaching back saying, hey, your loved one thought so much of you that they left you, $20,000, $500,000, $50,000, whatever that dollar amount is. Or, we were able to talk to someone about, hey, if you have a heart attack, you no longer have to worry about, making your mortgage payments. If you become disabled, you've got access to $250,000. And these are life-changing scenarios. Like anybody on here who has actually dealt with a client passing away and has spoken to their beneficiary and were able to get that claim paid out. It's an amazing experience to go through that. It's sad. I mean, I had one the other day where literally the wife was on the phone with me, like crying, not sure if her policy was going to pay out. It had just reached the 2-year non-contestability period, which meant that pretty much anything goes, no matter how they died, it was going to pay out. And the husband was out partying and, they don't know exactly what happened, but he didn't come home that night. And had it been inside of the 2 years, it might not have paid out because of the way that he passed away. But because it was outside of the 2 years, now they're about to deliver a death claim, and that's going to, change that family's life. So I love what we do. I love how fast we get paid, of course. You talk about real estate, you talk about solar, so many other industries out there. Where else can you get paid in 24 to 48 hours? Where can you be on the phone with somebody, help them with insurance, and then in 24 to 48 hours, have money deposited into your account? I remember when we moved to South Carolina, I mean, I was thinking about my real estate agents. I'm like, man, these guys must really be passionate about what they do because they've been talking to us for well over a year and a half. And finally, this deal closed. And finally, they're going to get paid. I've got friends in solar who they go out there and they knock on a door, and that thing takes 90 days to get funded and put through. And obviously, every company's different. I don't know. Some companies install faster. Some agents are able to push their people through the pipeline faster. But at the end of the day, unless we're going out and doing fully underwritten insurance, getting people to do medical exams, which most of us don't, unless it's a very unique scenario, people are getting paid within a week on policies that they write today. That's incredible. So I absolutely love our industry for the fact that we can get paid. The other thing is the low barrier to entry. Man, passing a real estate exam is not easy. I've heard that exam is pretty hard. Our exam, the life insurance exam, is a piece of cake. The hard part for us is the health insurance, which obviously a lot of us only, do the health insurance side so we can sell a couple of different life products and, have the ability to sell health insurance in the future. But that's the hardest part about what we do. Family First Life is a company, anybody in this organization, your class is free. Typically, it costs $200 to get your class done, but we're going to go ahead and pay for that for all of your agents that you go ahead and recruit. So all that they have to do is pay the state that they live in for an exam. And if they pass, pay for their license. And they have leads. And technically, you're not even required to buy leads. You can go out there and work friends and family, get referrals. We have leads available, which is amazing because there's other companies out there, they have no leads available. And they say, hey, make a list of your friends and family and then give them to me, your manager. I'll call up your friends and family. I'll sell them all insurance. You watch. I'll get paid. That's your training. And then when you get started, you go recruit a couple people to get lists of their friends and family. And then you'll sell them and you'll get paid on their friends and family. And then that's their training. And that's how people generate leads. Like that's actually what happens at other companies. So I love the fact that we can go to work. You can buy a list of leads, people raising their hand looking for insurance, and you can go out and you can learn a skill set and you can start getting paid without having to make a list of friends and family. But I also love that we have a product that's so worth believing in that it's also not that hard to talk to friends and family. When you actually, talk to somebody, you know that this is something that is worth making sure that they have set up properly. So it's so easy to understand, for me at least, why insurance is the best industry, to sell in. Life insurance specifically. And then it's like inside of that industry, Family First Life, that's pretty much a no-brainer. We're number one. It's not even close. I think our second competitor in the industry is 10 times smaller than us. So that's a huge difference. 10 times smaller than us. We obviously have the highest compensation. We've got access to the best carriers. All of our training. To have so many producers that do over $400,000 in a year is unheard of. To have any producers that do $1 million in a year is unheard of. And they all parked their license here. And they did it for a reason. So knowing that you guys are in the right place at the right time with the right people, of course, there's going to be things that you have to learn. Nothing's going to be perfect. It's not going to be an easy ride. But the best of the best in our industry have decided to plant their flag here. And that should give you belief that we really do have a great vehicle for you to get started in. And understanding where you are, I think, is the basic of having some belief that this is a skill set worth learning. I think that's a really important foundation when it comes to mastering the basics. Like, is this worth it? Is this worth learning? So we're going to start there, obviously, with belief, and we're going to move into leads here in a second. If you've been on one of the back to basic calls before, one of the things that we talk about is building confidence. So how do you build confidence? You build confidence in a couple of different ways. You build confidence by raising your belief. You build confidence through building your skills. And you build confidence through changing up your programming. So belief, obviously, we just talked about that. Skills, learning how to dial, learning how to buy leads. And then your programming is all the voices inside your head that tell you can do it or you can't do it. So when we increase our confidence, we're more likely to practice, we're more likely to do repetition, and we're more likely to obviously get better at what we're doing. Okay, here's where I kind of want to go from here. So we've got access to 1 million different leads. All leads are great and all leads suck. I just want to put that out there. At the end of the day, you can have a $90 mortgage lead that tells you they didn't fill it out and to kick rocks. And you can have a 50-cent life insurance lead that leads to one of the biggest premiums of your life. The biggest difference for me at the end of the day, and apologize, I'm a little sick, so I'm going to be taking a few sips of water. The biggest difference in leads, in my personal opinion, is what your dial day looks like, as your career continues to progress. If you're buying a more expensive lead, all that really means is that you've proven yourself from a skill set perspective of You can close deals. So it's worth it for you to invest into a more expensive lead for you to save time on your dialing so you can have more appointments. At the end of the day, if you have a less expensive lead, it doesn't mean that you can't get huge production out of it. It just means you're going to have more leads, more swings to be able to go out there and get the same number of appointments to be able to close the same number of deals as someone who's spending more on less leads. That's all that it is. So if I'm spending $1,000 a week, let's say, on leads, and I spend $1,000 on really old internet leads that are like $1, $2, $3 a piece, I'm gonna have to work my butt off to go pull 10, 15, 20 appointments out of those. I am, but they're in there. I can guarantee it. They are 100% in there. If I do brand new internet leads at $10 a piece, 100 leads, might dial all day, but if I dial all day and I've got a decent enough skill set, I'm going to pull out 10 appointments. If I get 40 final expense leads, it might take me a little bit less time, book 10 appointments. If I get 10 direct mail leads, you can probably book 6, 7, 8 appointments off those 10 direct mail leads. So at the end of the day, leads are just a way that, depending on how much they filled out, how much information they gave you, how much you can, be able to look at that lead and say, hey, you filled this out. Like, that's why it's expensive, is when you can say, hey, look, this is your handwriting. That one's the most expensive. Hey, you put down your favorite hobby. Like, we can't deny that your favorite hobby is, watching basketball or gardening or making food because you typed that into the form. So you can't sit here and say you didn't fill that out. Like, your granddaughter didn't fill this out for you and say that, knitting was your grandma's favorite hobby. You filled that out. And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. That was me. So at the end of the day, leads are leads. You're going to have really good leads, in quotes, that are going to hang up on you and tell you no, they didn't fill it out. And you're going to have leads that everyone considers that are horrible, that people are crushing it on. At the end of the day, it's 100% you. If we have people to talk to, then we're in business. Doesn't really matter how you get your leads. You could go out and you could do the referral game. It doesn't matter as long as you are talking to people. But if you are not talking to people and we're not booking appointments, we're not filling our calendar with activity, then your business is never going to grow. You're never going to go out and make any sales. So leads is everything. Dial team, dial day. If you're doing telesales, every day is dial day. That's kind of what it's become for most of us. I'd say about 95% of the team has transitioned to doing telesales full time, which is exciting. And also it can get a little bit crazy because it's the easiest thing to not be accountable with, because we're just sitting in our spare bedrooms, our offices, etc. And, we're working all day. We're sitting in front of the computer all day. But at the end of the day, if we're not actively dialing the next number, if we're not actively on an appointment with the next client, nothing's really happening. If we're staring at the computer all day, getting ready to get ready, not having a sense of urgency, then our business is not going to grow. So when you're in live dials, one of the easiest ways for you to stay accountable, at least for me, is to be in live dials with your camera on. Okay. That's the first step. That's not going to guarantee anything, but I know, at least for me, I have a really, really hard time not working when my camera's on. So I feel like everyone's watching me, even though no one's watching me. Everyone's just watching themselves. But at the end of the day, I have a really hard time working when my camera's not on. So if my camera is on, I'm probably going to be doing something. If my camera's off, that's when I'm eating a meal, I'm taking another call, I'm away from my desk, I'm doing something else. But when my camera's on, I'm typically working. So if you can get in here and have your camera on, that's a huge deal. Camera on and unmuting, asking questions. There's not a single person in here that's been doing this for a while that if you came into the chat and asked a question, that if they were available, they wouldn't answer. If your manager, a lot of managers in here are running 8, 10, 12 appointments a day. That's the goal. That's what we want to do. We want to be working hard. And what if your manager is not available? What if they don't answer the phone because they're on an appointment with somebody else? Don't be afraid to post in the chat. Don't be afraid to say, hey, could someone jump in a breakout room and answer this quick question for me? Don't be afraid to say, hey, can anybody help answer this question for me? I'm not sure what to do. If it comes down to you being on with the client, making a sale, like, everyone's going to want to help you. Everyone's going to want to help you succeed. And the number one way, obviously, to get feedback is to unmute. To unmute yourself, to do a presentation in here, to ask for feedback, to come in here on your first dial day, post in the chat and say, hey guys, I'm brand new. Today's my first dial day. I'm going to work on unmuting when somebody answers the phone. Can anybody just kind of listen for when I'm unmuted today and give me some feedback if you can? And maybe they're going to hear all your dials. Maybe they won't because they're working. But it's just that act of unmuting your phone, I think, that probably is the most powerful thing. For me, when I was first getting started, when I was dialing muted with my camera off, I realized that I was letting clients just kind of walk all over me. I was looking for the layups. I was looking for the easy books, the ones where people are like, yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly why I filled it out. And I found myself, especially towards the end of the day, like I said, looking for the easy ones. And someone would go, no, I didn't fill that out. And you go, okay, have a good day. They go, up, I already got taken care of. Okay, have a good day. And I kind of equate that to like dialing like a dog with your tail between your legs. Whereas when I was unmuted, I was like, people might be listening. And if people are listening, I don't want to be the person who's just giving up in front of everybody. So even if no one was listening, just me being unmuted made me think people were listening. And I started trying harder. And by trying harder, like the only way you can learn how to overcome objections is by like going head on at that. Someone's like, I don't have time right now. And if you're like, okay, well, I'll call you back later, like you're never going to learn how to overcome the I don't have time right now objection. If someone's like, I didn't fill that out, and you go, okay, I guess you didn't fill it out, have a good day. How are you ever going to learn how to overcome that objection unless you hit that head on? And for me, I felt the pressure in a good way to go ahead and learn to overcome those objections when I was on live dials. I put myself in an uncomfortable scenario. Obviously, this doesn't happen every day, but we've also got, lock-ins and in-person stuff that happens. Love those because there is no mute button. You can't hide behind a computer. If you're in a house, if you're at an office with other agents, there's one of two options. You're going to be working, you're going to be dialing, and somebody is going to give you feedback because they hear you. You're going to be listening to other people working, and you're going to be able to hear how they do it. Or you're going to sit there and not work, and then someone's going to be like, dude, what are you doing? Why aren't you dialing? And it's really easy to like pretend dial on live dials. So I love in person. The more that we can do in person, the better. We're hoping to be able to announce a lock-in here for this next quarter very soon that people can plug into. And that'll be a great opportunity for you to be able to get in person where there are no mute buttons and help you guys obviously grow yourselves. So we're very excited about that. Next couple things, I think just in general, if you bring yourself back to being a new agent, whether you were, successful right out the gates, if you were someone who took a little bit of time to get going, or you're here right now and you're like, okay, I'm about to start getting going, everyone will tell you that that sense of urgency in the beginning is so important. Getting that first sale, getting that in the books, that first application done. I think that like one of the most powerful things that was really helpful for me with the last couple new agents that I brought in is even though it wasn't, huge sales, a couple of these, we got on and we like got their parents some insurance just to get something in place to also be able to walk through an electronic application with them within their first couple of days as quickly as possible. Then it became like, oh, okay, I could do that. I could fill out that application because I think a lot of agents, they have a fear of the unknown. And because of this fear of the unknown, they feel like they have to get ready to get ready. They're constantly, looking through the back offices, making sure they're ready, making sure they know all the products, making sure they're knowing everything. And then when they do their first application, it goes from like this like made up story inside of their head where they're like visualizing what it's going to be like to like, oh, that's it. That's all that it is. I just filled out the application. Okay, I could do that again. I had somebody fill out a Mutual of Omaha Index Universal Life application for their dad. And they went through, it got approved. They were super happy. And I was like, all right, congrats. Even though it was just your dad, you just got done filling out the hardest electronic application that we have. If you can fill out that application, you can fill out every single application from every single carrier. Congrats. Like, okay, if that was the hardest one, like I can't wait till I fill out the Americo app. And then they did. And they're like, okay, that was super easy. So it just gave them confidence. So I think having a sense of urgency to get those first couple of reps done as soon as possible, it's going to give us the confidence that we're looking for to get started. And if somebody doesn't get their first sale, it's like they go into like this mindset of despair of like, oh my gosh, I don't know if it actually works. Like, should I have really done this? Like, and they just start freaking out. And the honest truth is like, if we don't get agents to get a sale in their first 30 or 60 days, they're going to quit because they haven't gotten results. And honestly, if you haven't gotten a first sale in your first 30 to 60 days, there's either something that we're doing wrong, there's no activity, or this isn't the right career for you. That's the honest truth. We all got to eat. We got to put food on our table at a certain point. We have to face reality. And I don't want to sit here and say that reality is that insurance isn't great for everybody, but that is a fact for some people. Other people, insurance could be great, but you haven't put in the work. You haven't practiced your script. You haven't gone to an event. You're avoiding lock-ins and live dials. Like you're trying to be a lone wolf and figure it out. And now you're 60, 90 days in, you still haven't helped a family. Or you've gone full-time too soon. And now you're trying to figure it out and you're in panic mode, trying to sell your first policy out of desperation to pay your bills. We have to have a sense of urgency, but we also have to be, wise and smart about how we go ahead and do it. So getting started as quickly as possible, getting that first sale as quickly as possible, that's everything. And then obviously, preparation is key, but we don't need to get over prepared. Insurance is pretty simple. Like if I can give you the most basic of how life insurance works. I remember Mike said this in the beginning. He said, when they die, it pays out. Like that's how life insurance works. When they die, it pays out. Here's how much it costs. And I thought that was so powerful and impactful because tell me how health insurance works. Tell me how your auto insurance works. Tell me how your home insurance works. I've got a couple people in my networking group that they sell home and auto. And I'm like, wow, like people have to actually make claims and they have to go through all of these different things just to be able to get the roof replaced. Like that was like a multi-month process for that to happen. I had a little fender bender that happened, 2-3 months ago, and I had my insurance and the other person didn't. And it was like months and months for me to get this insurance claim taken care of, to get the front end of our car fixed when someone else, basically ran into us when we were just driving. And it's like, that is complicated and they may or may not get their money. Whereas with insurance, like, hey, Mary, if you die, it pays out. Is that what you're looking for? Yes. When you die, you want money to go to your granddaughter? Yes. When you die, you want money to go to your wife? Yes. When you die, you want money to go to your son? Yes. If you have a heart attack, stroke, cancer, become disabled, do you want the money? Yes. Okay. Basically, here's how much it costs. Is that worth it to you? Yes. So it's very, very simple. If you can understand that, you don't have to overcomplicate it with all the different riders and all that stuff. It's all cool. You can learn how to sound really smart in this business. But at the end of the day, we need to be able to explain it to people like you're explaining it to a kindergartner. The more simple that you can explain it, the more likely that a client is to understand it. And obviously, as you get better, you can get a little more fancy with it. But in the beginning, it's all about keeping it very, very simple. The other thing is just making sure you know where everything is. This is like a major basic. The worst thing in the world is someone who comes in, they do everything. They're so over eager to get started. They jump into their appointments and they don't have any logins. They have all their carrier numbers, but they've never logged into the back office. And then, they try to log in and it's like, hey, you have to wait 24 hours before you can write your first electronic application. And you're on the phone with the client and you can't because you got a little bit over eager. So just make sure you're somewhat organized. Make sure you've got all your logins and your electronic applications and your quote tools in one place. Okay. Next thing, I think this is a big landmine that a lot of people kind of fall on. We talked about it a little bit, just this idea of being a lone wolf. People just don't plug into the system. They don't, they lack communication early on. They just kind of try to do everything on their own. We have these team calls and we have live dials and we have boot camp and we have all these systems in place and we have events. All of this stuff is in place for a reason. And a lot of people just say, well, I'll just figure it out myself. Other thing is that some agents, they don't want to call their manager for feedback. I think this is a huge one. They think that their manager is too busy. At the end of the day, a really good manager, they stay busy. They're not too busy. They like to stay busy. They like to be productive. So there's not one manager in the company that is going to get mad if you text them twice. There's not. If you're serious about growing, if you are serious about getting feedback, I don't mind it. If Sean Simpson puts a question mark on his message, I'm like, awesome. because that message got pushed down in my message box and I really did want to answer that, but I was busy when he sent it. So thank you for reminding me to come back to that message. Like, I don't get butthurt about any of that stuff. So like triple, quadruple text me if that's what it takes. Like, hey, tell me what you need, and I'm going to get back with you. Hey, I'm looking for feedback on XYZ. And any other manager is willing to do the exact same thing. So just understand that there's no manager that is too busy, but we do like to keep busy because busy means productive. Busy means helping more clients. Busy means helping more agents. One of the things that has been really helpful for me, just because it's really hard for me to go back and forth in text message and schedule things with people, is I've got a Calendly. Okay. I've got a Calendly that's available that I help book my clients through, but also I've got links for agents to go book strategy sessions with me so they can go in and book if they want to figure out leads. I send them a link rather than me going back and forth. Like, when are you free? When am I free? I go, hey, here's my calendar link. Get on there. Let's book a lead strategy session. I got a new agent who wants to do an interview. Same thing. Someone just wants to get on and ask questions with me for a half hour. Book a time. And that's something that I've gotten better at because for a long time, you keep running appointments all day, text messages are flying through your box, people's text messages are going down. So it's not that those things aren't important to a manager. It's just that they're staying busy. So don't be afraid to be persistent to get help. When I was first getting started, I blew up Grady Paulson's phone. I did not care. I knew that he was going to make an override on me, so I wanted to make him earn it. If you know that your manager is going to make an override on you, which is every single person on here, make them earn it. Make them help you. Obviously don't be rude about it. If you're rude about it, they really won't answer you. But if you are like teachable and coachable and ready to go, then they're going to want to help you. The other thing is, if somebody does give you advice, this is probably one of my biggest pet peeves. If a manager on here gives you advice about what product to write, please don't do the opposite. They're telling you that for a reason. They're telling you to write that product for a reason. They're telling you to say that thing or write it out that way for a reason. And maybe you're brand new and you just don't see that yet, and that's okay. Later on, you will see why. Somebody goes, well, why do you sell that product over this product when this one's $10 cheaper? Well, what you don't know about that product that's $10 cheaper and you think you're doing better for the client is it gets stuck in underwriting all the time, or it ends up having a really difficult electronic application for a new agent, and this one over here that's $10 more expensive gets approved on the spot. The application's done in 15 minutes and the client has instant approval before you get off the phone, and you get paid a little bit better. Is that worth $10 more? Yes, but a lot of new agents, they don't see that and they go, well, they're just telling me to write this product, for whatever reason that they make up in their mind. But it's like, no, they're telling you to write it for a reason because, they're trying to make life a little bit easier for you. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is when you're given advice by somebody who's doing it, that knows what they're doing, and you do the exact opposite. That is what's going to cause a manager to not call you back, is if you don't take the advice. If you ask for help, you do the opposite of what they say, less likely to answer your phone call the next time. So just keep that in mind. And then the other thing is, just trying to self-diagnose. We talk about all the time about how, we're the doctor and the client's the patient, and we fill out the financial inventory, and I'm going to go through it, and I'm the doctor with my white lab coat, and I'm going to say, hey, here's what's wrong. Here's what I'm prescribing the solution. Same exact thing when you're talking to somebody who's maybe run 1,000 appointments, even they run 100 appointments, 500 appointments, and you're brand new running your first 10. They're going to be able to tell you, pretty quickly what it is that, you need help with, what it is that you're doing wrong. And I like to tell people that if you're brand new and you're trying to self-diagnose what's going wrong, like new agent who's like, it's my first week, I set 20 appointments, 19 of them no-showed me. Now, if that new agent doesn't reach out to anybody to get feedback, brand new, he starts making up reasons in his mind why those 19 people no-showed him. He starts figuring out and justifying the reasons why he believes or she believes that nobody showed up to their appointments. They start saying things, well, the leads must be bad because 19 out of 20 people didn't show up, or this must be this because of that. And they start making up reasons why things are the way that they say they are. And at the end of the day, it might not be that whatsoever. And it takes somebody else from an outside perspective to diagnose and say, hey, I've been there 100 times, and what it sounds like to me is that you're not locking down any of your appointments. You're not getting any confirmations. You're not getting them to write anything down. You're not getting them to put it in their calendar, whatever those things. You're not clearing the schedule, but somebody else helping you diagnose what's actually going wrong. So by trying to diagnose yourself, it's like when you're feeling sick. And if I were to go on Google right now and type in that my throat's dry, which it is, and my nose is stuffed, and when I sneeze, there's like green stuff coming out of it. They're gonna be like, "You're dying." If I go on WebMD, if I try to self-diagnose, but I go to the doctor, like, "Dude, you have a cold? It's fine. Get some good sleep tonight. Drink some water. You'll be fine." But trying to self-diagnose yourself, it's like, "Oh, I bumped my elbow. All right, you got elbow cancer. Oh, everything's over. Business is done." No. So at the end of the day, like having somebody help you figure out where it is that you're going wrong, third party validation that can help you point you in the right direction. So don't self-diagnose yourself. And the last couple things here, probably one of the things I'm most passionate about is being a good steward of your commissions. I think this is huge. So quickly you can be put out of business in this realm of things if you do not become a good steward of your commissions, separate bank accounts, learning to keep business money in the business, not commingling your funds, making sure that you have money for leads every single week. These are the basics of staying in business. If you have a bunch of debt and you go make a bunch of money, please don't pay off every single dollar of debt that you have in the first month. Keep making your minimum payments, pay it off little by little, make bigger payments than you normally make, but keep your money in the business. The goal is to create a cash flowing entity. And this is not the type of business where when you are by yourself, solopreneur, where you just put money in and then money is generating like, a passive business. If you don't sell, you don't make money. So if you go out and you make 20,000, but then you don't work for the next 3 weeks, this isn't an automated business where money's just going to keep flowing back. If you don't go back to work and do it again, the money stops. And we have chargebacks. 20 to 30% of everything we do falls off the books. So now you got negative money and you spend all the money. It's not going to be good. The way that you get to a point where things can be passive is you sell, you teach other people to sell, starts to duplicate, and now you've got some overrides coming in. And then, you take a week off for a family vacation, someone dies, baby's born, money keeps flowing. But if you're solo, you have to figure out what your consistent schedule is going to be and commit to it and learn how to be a good steward of the commissions that are coming in. If you are solo and you've got a vacation coming up and you don't have other people that you're going to override while you're gone, and you work for 3 weeks, you got the fourth week that you're going to take off. Well, on the week before vacation and the week after vacation, I'm trying to add in another 5-10 appointments that I would normally have to try to make up for that week that I'm gone, because I'm a solopreneur. And if I stop working, I stop getting paid. So these are like the ways you have to start thinking, because this is not the type of business you just come into, make 20, 30 grand and walk away from. I'm not just me, but we are looking for people who want to be career agents. They want to learn this skill set and consistently help people over time. They want to keep helping people. They just want to come in and just make some money and run away. They're looking to actually build a skill set and they want to become an insurance agent. Like that's who we're looking for. And we love to help people, learn that skill set. The last thing on being a good steward of your commissions is being a good steward of the carriers that you have. So I had someone earlier ask me about, hey, I only have these, 6, 7 carriers. When do I get access to the other 20? They're brand new. And I'm thinking, you don't need access to those 20 yet. We have access to a lot of things, but you could help every single person that you have inside of these, basic 6, 7 carriers with insurance. Even with 6 or 7 carriers, you can have bad behavior. That bad behavior is what we like to call carrier roulette. And the temptation comes to us all. I promise you that it will. And what happens is you've got a little bit of debt with America. So rather that you go into underwriting, Genie, and you say, hey, I got a 72-year-old male who's diabetic. And they say, write America. And you go, but I've got $1,000 in debt with America. I'm going to go write Mutual of Omaha because I want to get paid tomorrow. And you do that all the time. And then you're like, okay, I got a little bit of debt with Moo and America. So now I'm going to go write AmAm. Then I'm going to write Corebridge. And you're not writing the carrier that's being recommended to you. This is especially like the perfect example of when you ask your manager what product to write and they tell you this product and you go write another product just to get paid. I promise you, you will get paid. It will come around if you just write the carrier you're supposed to write, because you're going to have to end up paying back those other commissions later. And you might as well just do it now on the next policy that you write rather than try to get paid now and then get hurt later, because that's what happens is you have debt with 6, 7 different carriers. and they're carriers you don't normally write. So then you're trying to get back to writing the carriers that you should write, and you're having to pay off debt over there. So you go write another policy over there. And guys, 20 to 30% of everything final expense and mortgage protection that you write is going to fall off the books. So if that's the case, why wouldn't we try to keep that as narrow as possible into like 2, 3, 4 carriers if possible? And then obviously the goal is to help every client. So if it's like they're not getting coverage unless I go over here to XYZ random carrier, that's why we do that. But the goal is, if possible, to keep as much of our business as condensed as possible into a couple of different carriers. And I promise, you'll be thanking yourself later for doing that. Please don't just be allured by the quick way to make money and then get hurt later by having to go back and pay off your mistakes in the beginning because you made a bunch of money off of a bunch of carriers, went to Disneyland, had a lot of fun, spent it all, and then you got debt everywhere. Instead, stay really focused into a couple of different carriers and be a good steward of the commissions that you have coming in. Don't spend it all. Put 30, 40, 50% of it to the side into a business savings account, because guess what? There's going to be a time that comes where you do have a chargeback in the morning. That's part of this business. Take money out of your savings account and buy leads. Like, you should never go without leads. So if you're putting 20, 30, 40, 50% of everything you make into a savings account, you'll always have money for leads. Every time a deposit comes in, boop, off to the side. Every time. So you always have money for leads to talk to more people. I'm happy to break that down with anybody individually who's trying to figure that out, of what it looks like, especially getting started, to set that up properly. But that is probably one of the biggest mistakes that new agents make, is they basically shoot their business in the head by spending the profit that should be poured back into the business in the first 30 days. I know agents who went out there, and if they would have just poured the money back into their business the first 30 days, continued that positive trend, they'd be in such a healthier place in the long run. I'm very passionate about being a good steward of your commissions, because I have plenty of experience of being bad steward of my commissions in previous businesses. And I've, had issues even in this business, as I've, gone through it, where, debt has happened and I've had to work my butt off to work out of a hole, and, regretted that I didn't, be a better steward of what I had. Last couple things here, guys. Just being resourceful. So in this business, there's 3 different stages. First, you're dependent, then you're independent, then you're dependent on. Okay, dependent, independent, dependent on. You get started, you're brand new, you are dependent on your manager to tell you what to do. You're dependent on Underwriting Genie to tell you what product to write. You're dependent on the resources and the underwriting guides and the cheat sheets to tell you the answer. Then you get to a point where you run your first 100 appointments and you're truly independent. You're like, whether Josh answers the phone or not, whether Sean answers the phone or not, Al answers the phone or not, Kasha answers the phone to help me. Like, nobody answers the phone. Because I've run 100 appointments, I could probably figure it out. 100 appointments has led me to the point of resourcefulness, where I know where the resources are. I know the underwriting guides. I know where to go. I was calling because I wanted a quicker answer from somebody else who's done it 1,000 times when I've only done it 100 times, but I could figure it out if nobody answered me. That's like being truly independent. And then the last level is dependent on. You're at a point where you're building a team, you're teaching other agents, and they're depending on you. And the goal is to teach other people how to sell insurance, and then teach people how to teach. And that's how you grow an insurance agency. And that's the key right there, is teaching people how to teach. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But at the end of the day, that's what it looks like, is learning how to sell insurance, teaching people how to sell insurance, which I think we've got that part down. Then teaching people how to teach people how to sell insurance. That's the key to the lock that unlocks everything in this business, which is what we're all looking to do. So learning to be resourceful, knowing where the things are, taking a 100% personal responsibility mentality of, if it is to be, it's up to me. I mean, that's such a easy mantra. If it is to be, it's up to me. I'm going to go and figure it out. I was in my first in-home appointment. I couldn't figure out my login to AIG, and Grady, I hated him at the time for doing this, but he's like, bro, figure it out. And he hung up on me. And I had to call AIG, get my account unlocked, write my first policy. And I'm so thankful that he did, because it laid the foundation of resourcefulness. Other people, if you coach them like that, they might crumble, so obviously I'm not recommending you go do that to all your first agents, but that's what Grady did to me. It forced me to be resourceful, and I'm very thankful for it. Then also, just people are going to try to find an easier way to do this. They're going to try and find a way to recreate the system. They're going to try to, reinvent the wheel. They're going to try to figure out all the different ways to avoid the work is really what I typically think. This business is work. Like there's not a lot of businesses out there, a lot of sales positions out there that aren't work. If you go online, you start getting advertised on Facebook and YouTube for an opportunity that sounds like there's no work involved and you're going to make millions, it's probably not real. Or they're talking just way too much on the positive side of things because everything takes work. In order for you to go out there and find massive success in anything, it's going to take work. If you want to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, how many hours a week do you think a doctor works? 80, 100 hours a week? And they make what? 350, 400,000, 700 grand a year. We have agents that are doing the exact same thing here. And if anybody here is naive enough to think that an agent making 700 grand a year works 20 hours a week, that's very naive. Like to make doctor money, lawyer money, engineer money, a lot of us work doctor hours. We work lawyer, engineer hours. We don't have, the same lifestyle. We're not at a practice, seeing thousands of patients a day. A lot of us are working from our laptop, but we are working a lot of appointments. The idea of working this business like a hobby, it's like putting in part-time fast food hours and expecting to make doctor money doesn't make any sense. So don't get trapped in that mindset of like, I'm going to find a way to work 10 hours a week. I'm never going to dial the phone. I'm going to let technology text all of my clients, and the technology and the AI are not only going to book my appointments, but they're also going to sell my appointments too. And I'm never going to have to do anything other than upload the leads and press a button. And then at that point, I'm rich. Like there's no system on the planet. There's no business on the planet that does that. Anybody who has gotten to the point in any business where they have like a ridiculous passive income. You see people making YouTube videos. How do you make $100,000 a month without working? I promise you it took a lot of work to get there before they stopped working. Okay. So it's like active income versus passive income. Passive income is the goal. You can create passive income in the insurance world, but there is 0% chance you will create passive income without active income first. 0% chance. You have to put in the activity first before anything of the passive side even comes. Learning to sell insurance requires you to be active. Teaching people how to sell insurance requires you to be active. Now you start teaching other people how to teach other people how to sell insurance. There's a little bit of passive that comes in there. And like, that's obviously like a big goal for everybody is to duplicate yourself. Go become a 40 family a month producer, bring someone into the business, teach them how to do the same thing. You teach a man to fish, he feeds himself for a lifetime. You bring someone into the business and you help them have that light bulb moment of, oh my goodness, this is the career that I want to have, the career that I'm going to work at, for the rest of my life, whatever it is. That's an exciting thing. When you help someone have that light bulb moment of, wow, this really is the best business ever. And then they go out and they do everything to become independent. And then the only time they call you is when they need help. They don't call you to bother you. They don't call you to complain. And then you're like, wow, if I could just recruit 10 more of that guy, like I'm going to have a massive agency. And that's the goal. That's the goal, is to be able to get to that point. But the first step is for you to go from dependent to independent. So there's a lot of people on this call who are already independent. Fantastic. Those of you who are already independent, like your goal should be, how do I get to a point where I have other people depending on me? I've become independent. I know how to sell insurance. Your number one goal outside of selling insurance should be, if you are independent right now, how can I learn to teach more people how to sell insurance? If I learn to teach more people how to do what I'm doing, you're going to have a growing, successful business agency, not just a one-man show, one-girl show. And if you're somebody who is brand new and you are dependent, you want to get to independent as quickly as possible. Go from unknown to known, from dependent to independent. That's it. And it sounds like a lot. Like it sounds like a really high hill to climb, but like getting to the independent stage is such a powerful thing, because then you're like, I can just turn it on when I want to make money. If I decide to, all I have to do is buy leads and put 10 appointments on my schedule. And if I put 10 appointments on my schedule every day, I'm bound to help 2, 3, 4 families a day. If I do that every single day, so I'm going to get better. That's all that it is. Last week, I got my butt kicked every single day. I had 10 to 15 appointments. I think I had like 55 appointments last week and I helped 7 families. Today I had 14 appointments and I helped 7 families on one day. It took me all week running 55 appointments to help 7 families last week, but today I helped 7 families. So like at the end of the day, like it comes in ebbs and flows. You run in streaks, but when you zoom out, it all balances out later. So that's all it is, guys. We just want to teach you all the basics, help you figure this out. We're here to help. We don't have a perfect system, but we have a system. We're not going to say, hey, everybody who joins this business and follows our system is going to succeed. That's not true because most people won't follow it. And even if they do follow it, you'll get caught somewhere else on one of the different landmines that we talked about, not joining live dials, not being teachable, not being coachable. They can follow all the things, all the steps, but then they go spend all their money and go to Disneyland and put themselves out of business. Like it's not easy to be a good insurance agent. It's really not. But there are some simple things that you can do every single day. Put your head down. And a year from now, it's such an incredible skill set to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go on vacation and I'm going to bring my laptop. I'm going to run a few appointments a day and I'm going to still make money while I'm on vacation. Hey, I'm licensed in all 50 states. I got friends who live in Costa Rica full-time, Panama full-time, sell insurance. Like there's a lot of things that you can do. Be available for your family, work your schedule around what they've got going on and sell insurance in the cracks. Like there's so much that can be done. So this is, dream business for a lot of us who've worked our butts off, but it also could be a nightmare depending on the day. And it also can be a nightmare just depending on how well you steward it. So I just encourage everybody to go out there and continue to try to get better. I encourage you to reach out to, your manager and continue to be teachable and coachable. And my last caveat again to reaching out to your manager is just be a positive person that, they would enjoy helping. Nobody likes a negative Nancy. Nobody likes a complainer. Somebody who is teachable, coachable, looking for feedback, willing to do what the manager actually says. And that's what's going to, help you get better coaching. You'll get better if you actually follow the coaching that's being offered. So I love y'all. I hope everybody has a great day. I still got a couple more appointments. I know a lot of people are going to be on here for quite some time this evening, but we'll be back next week. And if you need anything, please go ahead and reach out and we'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good night, everybody.